The sun beamed over a whimsical garden bathed in vibrant colors. Emerald grass glistened with morning dew, oversized pink and orange flowers swayed in harmony, and a soft breeze rustled through the leaves of towering trees. In its heart, a cheerful blue rabbit named Farfour, round and fluffy with oversized ears, leapt after a glimmering red ball. His wide, sparkling eyes lit up every time the ball sailed through the air. On the other side of the garden, a tiny yellow bird with bright red wings named Zozo perched delicately on a flower stem, laughing as he tossed the ball back into Farfour's paws. "Catch this one, Farfour!" Zozo squeaked, his high-pitched voice cutting through the laughter. "I'm ready!" Farfour called, his ears flopping joyously. He dove for the ball, catching it midair. The sunlight kissed his blue fur, reflecting radiant highlights that glimmered with every move. But as he stood up, tossing it back toward Zozo, the ball soared wide, bouncing away toward a cracked flower pot in the background. Oh no, the vase! The ball struck the pot's edge with a faint thud. All eyes were locked as the delicate flower vase nearby teetered dramatically on its pedestal. Farfour gasped, his oversized ears drooping as if they'd been deflated by panic, while Zozo slapped his wings over his face. Shards flew in sparkling arcs, catching the sunlight in exaggerated twinkles. The garden stilled. Farfour stood frozen, the realization of what had happened sinking in like heavy stones. His nose twitched nervously, beads of sweat glistening under the sunlight. Zozo fluttered by, shaking his tiny head. Oh no, Farfour murmured. Mom's favorite vase. Just then, a chubby squirrel and a bespectacled turtle wandered by. They paused, eyes widening at the broken vase before turning their gaze onto Farfour. "Did you do that?" the squirrel asked, tilting her head mischievously. Farfour gulped, his ears twitched nervously. He shook his head and stammered, "No, not me, maybe the wind?" As the fib slipped out, his round nose gave the faintest twitch and grew the tiniest bit longer. The squirrel giggled as the turtle adjusted his glasses to make sure he wasn't imagining it. "Lying's bad, Farfour," Zozo whisper yelled from behind him, but Farfour ignored him. "I didn't even see the ball rolling this way," he said with a wobbling grin. His nose stretched longer. Both the squirrel and turtle exchanged quiet giggles. The spotlight seemed to dim around them, leaving Farfour comically illuminated under a single beam of light. His growing nose began to curve downward, and despite his efforts to hold his chin high, its weight tipped his head forward comically. Around him, whispers and chuckles rippled like waves. By the time the sun dipped toward the horizon, Farfour found himself sitting alone on a stubby tree stump at the garden's edge. His once sparkling blue fur seemed to have dulled in the fading light, and his overly long nose cast a ridiculous shadow over the ground. The deflated red ball lay nearby, a mute reminder of his earlier joy. In the violet sky, Zozo flapped away without a word. Farfour's wide, sparkling eyes, now glassy with unshed tears, stared after him. He felt a knot twist in his chest. The shattered vase wasn't the only thing broken. His small garden world felt heavier than ever. "What have I done?" he whispered. Hours later, Farfour stood trembling outside his family burrow, illuminated by the warmth spilling from a crack in the door. Hours later, Farfour stood trembling outside his family burrow, illuminated by the warmth spilling from a crack in the door. Slowly he stepped inside, clutching a jagged piece of the broken vase like a confession in physical form. The warm light of the kitchen danced over paw-stitched curtains and a wooden table, drawing him toward his mom, a taller rabbit with purple fur streaked with white. She wore a floral apron, absently kneading dough on the counter. Mom," Farfour stammered, his oversized ears drooping, his long nose swaying slightly as he moved closer. She turned, her gentle eyes immediately soft with concern. Taking a deep breath, Farfour held out the vase fragment. Tears welled in his eyes, reflecting the golden kitchen light like tiny jewels. "I broke it, Mom. It was my fault. I'm so sorry." For a moment, his mom said nothing, her gaze flickering from the shard to her son's tearful face. Then, without a word, she crouched, pulling him into a warm embrace. "I'm proud of you for telling the truth," she said softly. Behind them, the yellow glow bathed the scene, casting a soft halo around her silhouette. "It's okay, sweetie. We'll fix it together." Outside, Zozo peeked through a tree branch, his bright feathers glowing with a hopeful sheen. Under the shimmering dawn of a brand new morning, Farfour, his mom and Zozo knelt together in the freshly blooming garden. They worked together at a long table, gluing the vase's cracked fragments with delicate precision. Although faint lines of repair remained visible, they gave the vase a unique pattern, like veins carrying life within. Farfour's fluffy fur seemed brighter than ever, his sparkling eyes and perked ears lifting the garden's energy. They planted colorful new flowers in the repaired vase. Butterflies waltzed lazily through the scene, their metallic wings catching the light. A warm rainbow arched playfully across the sky as sunlight dappled through the leaves of the trees. And on one particularly large trunk, nailed proudly like a trophy, was a ribbon that read Best Honesty Award. Zozo fluttered onto Farfour's shoulder, chirping happily. "Looks like your nose went back to normal, buddy." Farfour laughed, cradling the vase carefully. "Yeah, and I think I like myself better this way." As they stood back to admire the garden surrounded by life and love, Farfour smiled to himself. Telling the truth might have been the harder path, but it had brought him back to what mattered most. Rainbows, laughter, and a mended vase marked the garden's joyful transformation. And as the credits rolled on Farfour's tale, a quiet lesson came into focus. While mistakes happen, honesty can always repair what matters most.